Students, we will start our new topic, that is life in the rural area. So, rural area are those area which are villages. We call them as rural area. Clear? Now, when the British came to India, villages were self-sufficient units. Means India, their villages and their farmers, they can grow the things whichever required by them. Written in the next line, most of the things that the villagers need were produced in the village itself. So means what is happening, if someone need rice, they have that rice in their village itself, so they don't have to go outside to purchase anything. Farmer owned the land he cultivated. Farmer have that particular land on which they can cultivate their food crops and could not be evicted. Evicted means that farmer don't have to leave their land. Clear? Farmers need to pay the small part of his produce to the king. Why they need to pay? They will pay in the form of taxes. Either they will pay the money or they will pay the small produce. Like if I am growing rice, I am growing 100 kg of rice. So what will I do? I will give 10 kg of rice to the king, because king is providing us many service, king is providing us the security, king is providing us the proper maintenance of our society. Suppose in case crop failed due to natural calamities such as flood or drought, what will happen? King either will reduce the land revenue, like if you are unable to grow 100 kg of rice, suppose your rice was only 60 kg, so you don't have to give 10 kg of rice, you can give only 3 kg of rice and king will be satisfied. Or sometimes you do not even have a single amount of crop, then king will say, okay, this year we will not take any produce or any amount from you, we will completely waive off. Clear? But after Britishers came to India, the situation completely changed. Means these revenue, this produce collected by the agents of the company, these revenue is collected by the agents of the company, and these were fixed. Fixed in the sense that Mr. A need to give 10 kg of rice and Mr. B need to give 5 kg of wheat, and that was completely fixed, and that was paid in cash. Means earlier to the king they used to give rice or wheat, but now Britisher says you don't have to give us the rice or wheat, you have to give us the cash, and fixed cash, say 1000 rupees you have to give us every month. But suppose in case that there are the crop failures and producers, the crop farmers, they are unable to sell their crops because there is a crop failure, so they are unable to pay this 1000 rupees as a tax. What will happen? Then they will sell their land and they have to repay this revenue. Clear? Okay, now start. East India Company got the right to collect the revenue of Bengal, Bihar and Odisha, and now it is as Odisha. So like East India Company, they have the right that they can collect the revenue from these three states, Bengal, Bihar and Odisha. And why they need money? They need money to purchase goods in India, and they will export those goods to their country, as well as to run their administration, because they will hire the employees and they need to pay money to the employees, they need to pay to the army, and there are many wars which were fought either in India or in abroad. That's really the important criteria which says that they have to take money as much as possible so that they can run their operations well inside the country as well as outside the country, and land revenue was the main source of income for them. Clear? In the next paragraph we will see that Warren Hastings, he was the Governor General of the East India Company, and the company gave the right to collect revenue from an area to the highest bidder. We need to understand this, what it is saying. In a village there are 5 people, and these 5 people will bid. Suppose he bid 100 rupees, he bid 200, 300, 400 and 500. So this person will get the right to collect the revenue from everyone present in that particular area. Clear? But what will happen? This was the highest bid. So there are many other farmers who won't be able to full amount. They won't be able to pay the full amount. So the amount was much lower than this highest bid. And again this bid used to change from year to year. So the income is also not stable, that every year we will get 500, this year 500 or next year 400. So there is an instability of income is always persist. So this system failed. So they have introduced 3 new revenue collection system. And what are those 3 revenue collection system? One is the permanent settlement, next is Mahalwari system, and next is Rotwari system. Clear? Now we will start with the first method, that is the permanent settlement. It was introduced in 1793, and the word permanent, it says that the income is regular and the amount was decided, that was completely fixed, and it was particularly for 2 states, Bengal and Bihar. Who introduced this scheme? Lord Cornwallis, and this scheme came to known as the permanent settlement. Now we will study the important features which are related to this. With the permanent word means that it was fixed permanently and there is no scope of revision later. Means if it is 700 then it will be 700, you cannot make it 750 or 650. Who will collect the amount? The amount will be collected by the local jamidar, and every year this local jamidar will pay the amount to the British East India Company. Clear? And if he will suppose he need to pay 7,000 every year to the British East India Company, but this year he received 8,000. So how much he will pay to the British India Company? He will pay only 7,000. Remaining 1,000 rupees he will keep with himself. Clear? But suppose if he is unable to collect these 7,000 rupees, British East India Company will remove from his position of local jamidar. So this was the reason that people will forcefully collect the amount, because these jamidar, they don't want to lose this right. Clear? So what will happen in some cases it really harmfully and badly impact those farmers, those who are unable to generate such high revenue from their farming. So what will happen? They will be facing trouble and they have to take huge amount of loan to repay this tax. But this was extremely advantageous to the company because they are getting fixed and the regular income, and they don't have to make any trouble to the peasant, because they don't have to go and ask each and every peasant individually to pay the amount. Clear? Even the jamidars, they were not interested in investing money to improve the productivity of the land. So jamidar, they don't want to invest on their land. Why they don't want to invest on their land? Because if the production declined, the revenue demand of the jamidar went up, and in order to pay the revenue, these peasants, they have to borrow money from the money lenders, and once they will take this debt, they will find it very difficult to repay this amount. Clear? So we have completed our permanent system. Now we will move to Mahalwadi system. So Mahalwadi system was applicable in Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh and Punjab, because in these states there are group of people in the village, they have a small area of the land on which they build the mahals. And who will collect and pay the revenue? It will be collected and paid by the head of each mahal, and this revenue is not fixed permanently, and you can revise it periodically. Suppose this year you are paying 800 and next year you are paying 1200, or it can be 700 as well. Okay, so this system was introduced by the Thomas Munro. We have seen in the permanent scheme that there is one jamidar and he will collect the revenue from all the peasants. But now this method is no more existing, because in the Rotwari what is happening, this land is of Ram and this land is of Shyam. He will pay the revenue to the government as per his land, and he will pay the revenue to the government as per his land. They will be given the right of the ownership of the land to a particular person. He or she can cultivate, and whatever the amount he earns, on that basis they will give the tax to the government. So there is no more Jamidar existing. Government will collect the tax or the revenue directly from the individuals. Clear? This word ryot basically means the farmer or the land owners. The farmer were recognized as the owner of the land as long as he paid the land revenue. If you are paying the land revenue, you are the owner of this land. If you are not paying the land revenue, you have to sell your land to give this tax. As well as if there are two farmers, Ram and Shyam, if the fertility of Ram is very good, so he will be paying the higher amount of tax, and his fertility of the soil means the quality of soil is not that good, then he will be paying the amount very low. Because his fertility is low, his production will be low, so Shyam will be benefited. Clear? So after the introduction of this scheme, there is one benefit which we can see, is that the land is now a sellable commodity. Means either you can sell your land, you can buy a new land, or you can mortgage, means you can keep the land and take the money against it, and when you will repay the amount, you will get your land back. So this really impact the life of the rural people, as well as this really established a new life in the economy as well. Clear? During the British rule, what is saying in this paragraph is that during the British rule, these peasants, this farmer, they will be left with only a small amount of income in their hands. Sometimes their revenue failed because the crop failed due to the natural calamities, as well as they have the very high cost due to the customs such as the marriages or the festivals. So in order to get the money, they have two options. Either they can sell their land, or they can take the loan on that particular land. But we consider our land as our mother, so we never sold our land. So what we will do, we will having only one single option, is that we will take loan on that particular land, and it will be in future we will be paying from our revenue, so that we can get our land back from the owner. Clear? These money lenders, they will take your land and give you some money, and in future you need to repay that money back to the money lender, and they will give you the papers of your land. Suppose you are unable to pay this money, then this money lender will take the ownership of your land. Clear? These money lender, if they will give you 100, so the moment when you will repay this 100, you need to pay 120. What this extra 20? This extra 20 is the high interest rate they are charging from the peasants. Clear? And it has been said from the survey that out of 10 people, only 2 people will be able to repay their loan, and the 8 people will not be able to pay their loan. Clear? So the life of the peasants were in a very distress situation. They faced lots of difficulties during their work, and there were few jamidars who don't even care about the peasants. They only aim to get the maximum money and the revenue from the peasants. They did nothing to improve the agriculture. No new facilities or technology provided to the farmers, no irrigation facility. So they only work, their only aim is to get money. In any way, their target is to get large amount of money from the peasants. So because of no irrigation facility, peasants were completely dependent on the monsoon. If there is rain, then you will get the good crop, otherwise you will be having a crop failure. And because of no rain, there were like no food, no grains, no revenue. So farmers find it very impossible or very difficult to support himself or his family. Clear? And there are many farmers, because of this stress, because of this pressure, they need to do suicide. So these were the situation, these were the condition are very difficult for the farmer as well as his family. Okay, now we will start the last topic of this chapter, that is the cultivation of cash crop. What is this cash crop? These are indigo, jute, oilseed, sugarcane, tea, coffee, etc. and cotton. Means these are those crops which can be used in the industry to produce a new product. Suppose sugarcane. With the help of sugarcane we can produce sugar. With the help of jute we can produce jute bag. With the help of indigo we can dye our colors. It gives us a blue color. With the help of that we will color our clothes. So these all crops are basically the industrial crop, means these are used in the industry. And in the Europe there is a industrial revolution, so there is a huge demand for these cash crop. So what is happening? The Britishers asked the peasant to grow this crop more and more, and the effect of that, the cash crop production increases and the food grains like rice, wheat, maize, bajra, the production decline and there is a shortage of food. So after that there is one more thing, that these indigo peasant, those who are growing this indigo, they are not getting the proper benefit, they are not getting the good amount. So what they did, they revolt against the owner, they revolt against the industries, those who are using this indigo color. Now we will see each and every line. These crops were widely used in the British manufacturing industry. Clear? I have already told you. And hence company encouraged their cultivation. So the East India Company, they encouraged every peasant that they should grow these cash crop because they are used in the industry. Clear? Again, this indigo is Neil, which we use in our cloth to color them as blue after washing them. Okay, now we will study a case study related to indigo. Clear? So indigo is a blue colored dye and it is obtained from a indigo plant. And what is the use of this indigo? It is used to dye cloth, and there was a huge demand of this indigo in Europe. Why? Because there is an industrial revolution, and due to huge demand for the product in the textile industry. What does that word mean? Textile means the clothing industry in England. So because of this revolution, there is a huge demand and the demand further increased. Clear? So Britain, they need indigo to dye their cloth. Since the climate of England was not suitable for growing indigo, it imported indigo from other place. Means like England, they need indigo but they cannot produce indigo in their country because they don't have the suitable climate to grow indigo. So what is happening? They will import this indigo from different countries. Earlier they used to import it from West Indies and North America, but due to the collapse of indigo plantation, they are unable to import the goods. So they are looking for some other areas from where they can get the supply of this indigo. So in order to meet the growing demand, means there is a huge demand in the Britain. So Britain, they came to India and they are forcing every farmer to grow indigo. Even if you have a small portion of the land, you can use to cultivate indigo over there. Clear? Where they forced it much? They forced it much in the Bengal, and they only want indigo. Means they are saying if you want to grow anything, you have to grow indigo. Clear? And by the beginning of the 19th century, Indian indigo was a major export to England. Means in England they are importing indigo from different countries. So who was the major exporter? India was the major exporter of indigo to the England. Clear? So these companies, they made a huge profit. They will buy indigo from Indian farmers and they export this indigo to the industries in England. So they make a huge amount of profit. So what they are doing, they privately started investment in indigo, means these companies, they start themselves growing this indigo, and this is a very labor intensive, means that labor intensive means you cannot use much of the machineries and technology. It is basically work done by the laborers. Who will cultivate the land? It is mostly cultivated by the laborers. The planters, the farmer, they signed a contract with the cultivator, the planters. So what is happening? The planters, they sign a contract with the cultivator. See that you have to grow indigo only. You cannot grow any other thing on the land. And over the time, the price paid to the cultivator become less and less. Means they are paying very less amount to the cultivator for the crop. And due to which the farmer suffered a lot and exploitation system was there. But in 1860, Deenbandhu Mitra wrote a play which is known as Neel Darpan, and this play basically highlighted the problems faced by the indigo cultivators. And who are doing this? It is done by indigo planters, those who are giving the contract to the indigo cultivator. Clear? You cannot grow any other crop except indigo. If farmer wanted to grow any other crop, they are unable to do so, because the land has a limited amount of minerals and resources, and those minerals and resources exhausted by that indigo crop. So the farmer, they don't have the option but to revolt, means they come out and they start fighting. This began in 1859 to 60, in which the Bengal was the powerful peasant protest. And who protested? Bengal protested. The peasants of Bengal protested. Now what happened? Thousands of farmers, thousands of peasants, they refused to grow indigo on their land. They said that we will not grow indigo. Whatever you want to do, you can do. They also attacked the factories where indigo was used, and they have beaten many agents in the places, and they boycotted those servants, those who are working in these companies, as well as women also took part in the resistance against the planters, those who are giving the contract to the peasants. And in some places, local jamidar also played a great role, and they joined the peasant, the farmer, to help them in this revolt. Clear? So the result of this revolt is that the government, they need to act immediately, they have to take action. And what they did, they set up a commission named as Indigo Commission, who will look into the system of indigo production, and whatever the suggestions required, whatever the changes required, they will do the changes. But the Bengal, they stopped being the hub of indigo cultivation, means from that onward Bengal stopped and said that the farmers of Bengal said that we will not produce indigo anymore. So what will happen? Those planters, those who want the indigo, they settled their base in Bihar. Clear? So in Bihar also the farmer faced the same situation with the farmer faced in West Bengal, and the exploitation continued. Clear? So students, our chapters completed. Okay. So when the British came to India, villages were self-sufficient unit. What was the main source of income for the British? Land revenue. This system of revenue collection was introduced by the Lord Cornwallis. Name the system. The system was permanent settlement. Land under the British rule become a sellable commodity, means anyone can buy, anyone can sell or mortgage. Clear? This was the another crop which the peasant had to sow along with the indigo. So the answer is none of these, means peasant cannot grow any crop other than indigo. Clear? Okay students, so I will over this lecture here only. Thank you.